We want it tiny, and we don't want it to be bigger. This is our new model for our tiny house that we will be building in about a month. We had to change a few things since going to visit the land. We decided that we are going to build it in this way. We have turned in all of our paperwork, so everything is in that we need to turn in legally. And now we just have to wait until July 15th to hear back from the office. So if they get back to us and tell us we can't build for whatever reason, then we'll have to amend our plan. We really don't think that's going to happen because Kuba followed all of the rules when it comes to the structure, like what it has to look like, the size requirements, because this is going to be a 4 by 5 meter shed essentially, and that's within the size requirements needed to build it as a tiny house in Poland.
Yeah, because the maximum is 35 square meters.
Yeah.
Which this will be 20, so.
Yeah, so we could build it 5 by 7 to make it 35, but we want to do it smaller because we don't need a huge space, and then this means we'll spend less on building materials, the heating will be less because we're not going to have to heat a bigger structure, and we just don't need 35 meters squared of space.
Yeah, and less time building it too.
Yeah, less time to build. And we know we don't need that space because we've lived in tiny spaces before, like your flat in Dundee, the van. So that is why we're building it tiny. We want it tiny, and we don't want it to be bigger. Yeah, this is all to scale. So this is 5 meters by 4. With this house, we changed the roof because legally it has to have certain angles in the roof, and that's just so it matches the other buildings in that part of Poland. So we are doing the roof this way instead. So this means that this will be a 45-degree angle here. Oh. Yeah, I also made little models of me and Kuba. So Kuba is the tall one, obviously. But just so we can see the size, you know. We plan to have a loft space up here, and this is where we will like put a bed, probably in the middle of it, here, so we can fit. This is different than the last design, so we didn't have a loft. And so then it'll be sloping this way, obviously. We are planning to make this, part of it will be like the shower. We don't know if we're gonna buy like a shower cabin with like the glass sliding door or whatever. And part of it will be a wardrobe where like you walk into it, into the wardrobe, and then into the shower. We probably will have to make this slightly deeper to accommodate a wardrobe. But for now, it's basically going to be this size, maybe a little bit deeper in the corner here. And then this will be our couch. This is also to scale based on the couch we have in the flat now. And then the window, there's gonna be one window here somewhere. And so there aren't too many windows in here. We'll have one window here and then one on the side of the kitchen, a small window here. A lot of people want lots of windows for like, oh, the natural light or whatever. But the problem then is that you lose the wall space for storage. And so that's why we just want 2 windows. We're flexible on the size of the windows. It's basically gonna be whatever windows we can find for cheap at the time when we're ready to build the walls. That's how we will determine what windows we will get. A lot of houses put the window like you're in the kitchen looking out and there's a window, but we want it on the side, so if I'm filming cooking videos, the light is from the side, not behind, because that's like the worst lighting you have for videos. So we'll have the window here, and then a full-size fridge, like with the freezer compartment, and then this is gonna be a little sink, and then we will probably make an island, some type of island to go here in the future, but we'll just use a table in the beginning. And then here we have 2 ideas, or 2 little models for stoves. One is a slightly larger kitchen stove. That'll also heat up the whole structure, and then this is a smaller, like mini one. So we just have to decide which one would be better.
Yeah, because the bigger one is basically a kitchen.
So you can cook stuff on the top and in the oven. So I kind of am leaning towards a smaller stove because a smaller one is more energy efficient. Then that means I'm not going to have an oven to bake in. And that's not a problem because we lived for a while with no oven. And we can get by without baking things.
Yeah, we are just fine with just like one burner thing.
Yeah,
you
we'll
know?
just use the gas stove that we use in the van, and we can hook that up to like a big gas bottle, and that'll work just fine. Obviously, we're not going to be putting the stove right up against the wardrobe, so what we're thinking is that when we go to build the inside, we'll just put the stove in wherever, either here or maybe on the side over here, we don't really know, because this little one could go over here, and then we'll build around the stove. So whatever minimum distance we need from the stove, then that's how we will design the back wall. Yeah, the same with like the shower cabin. Whatever shower we decide to use, that'll go in the corner, and then we'll build a little wardrobe area around that. The fridge is pretty standard size, so that has to go in the corner as well. This is just to measure the top of the roof. We're not gonna build anything like this. And then for the roof, we will have like things going, what do you call them? Little supports or whatever.
Yeah, 'cause the roof trusses have to go a certain way, and they have to have the structure, certain structure to be strong enough, basically.
Like the loft is gonna be here. Oh, I didn't put the floor in, but
It's okay.
we'll also have like a little window up here too. Just a tiny sized window.
Later, we probably gonna build the little porch in here.
Yeah, and a separate little roof coming out.
Yeah, but for at the beginning, this is just gonna be how it is.
We don't have a toilet inside of here right now because we are building a separate outhouse, and we're just gonna use a pre-made shed from Castorama, just pop it up. The reason why we're keeping it separate is because we need a working toilet before this thing is finished, so we can use that while we're living in the van, use the toilet, the compost toilet in that shack while we're building this thing. So that doesn't mean that in the winter we're not gonna have a compost toilet inside of this. I just haven't built a little cardboard toilet to put inside of this model. So I know people are like, oh, I wouldn't want to walk outside in the snow to take a dump or whatever, but we will have a toilet probably inside of the house when winter rolls around. Just for now, it's going to be separate. And as far as power goes, in the beginning, it's not going to be relying on solar just because we don't have the money to invest in a solar setup for the house right away. We already have solar in the van, so we will use that as much as we can, but we won't have electricity there. There's hookups for that. So we're going to use it. And water, we will be using it's regular water from the city. That's what we're going to be using in the beginning.
Yeah, it's just normal connection like any other house.
And then eventually we will be collecting rainwater from the roof, but starting off we're going to be using the water from the city. We have sewage too.
And sewage, yeah.
Legally we have to have the sewage connected. So just to give you some perspective here, this is Kuba and this is me. And then the loft will go here. And we'll have plenty of storage space too because we'll have the walls, we'll have the loft area. We don't have that much stuff to begin with.
We'll build some storage on the loft too.
Yeah.
Like the bed will be in the middle, and on the sides we can...
Yeah, our main goal when we start building in August is just to get the structure built so we can insulate it and heat it for winter. We probably won't build the loft in that time. We'll just do that later. And as far as like what the outside of the house will look like, or like the walls and stuff like that, we're not too set on certain details like that because it really will just come down to how much money do we have at the time and what materials can we find at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
And like what do we actually need to do before winter rolls around, you know?
Whatever we can do, the cheapest way we can do it. Before the winter, that's gonna be done this year.
Yeah.
And like next year we'll figure out other things.
So we have to wait until July 15th, and then after that we know we're good to build, and then we're moving out of Krakow at the end of July. And then we'll head straight there and start building. Put up the shack first, the toilet shack.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to see us build this tiny house with no real building experience, Feel free to subscribe because I will be filming the whole building process. Leading up to August, when we actually leave Krakow, I don't really know what type of videos I will be doing because there's nothing really happening. We're just kind of waiting to move. So really, us hanging around the flat isn't as exciting as us building a tiny house. So I don't know what I'm gonna film in that time.
Yeah, and we are not really going on any adventures or anything.
yeah.
Just saving money, basically.
Yeah, we're just hanging out here waiting and then building buildings out of cardboard.
Oh yeah, that's funny.